rate for taxes is based on a tiered system. That means leveled. Tiers means levels. Which increases in percent the more you make. Darn that. For the first $80,000 you make, you're going to be charged 40% tax. So you earn $80,000, you have to pay 40% tax rate. It's awful. Okay. I made up these numbers, by the way. This is not proper. I didn't actually check the tax rate. Okay. Then you go up to 200,000. Your tax rate is 45. So anything up to 80, you're going to pay a 40% tax rate. Again, I just made up numbers, okay? So I didn't look this up. So 40% on that first 80. Up to 200, you're at 45%. Okay. Now, what if I earned $82,000? What that's saying is what? What if I earned $82,000? What happens with this tiered system? Yeah.
You'd be charged 45%.
No. So what this is trying to say is that for the first 80,000, you're going to be charged 40 on that. Then on the 2, I'll be charged the 45. That's what they're trying to say. So read it again with me. Everyone always reads it the other way. For the first 80, you're charged 40. Okay, so you're like, but I only earned 82. First 80, I earned 40% on that one, or not earned, pay 40% on that. Then for the 2 extra that I earned, up to 200, I'm going to pay 40% on the 2. Okay, so that's the way to read it. That's why I want to go over it, because everyone's like, so you have to pay 45? No, technically, the first 80, I get to pay 40. The next, anything over, up to 200, I pay the 45. Does that make sense? Right, so I want to clarify that, because if it's 80, you say, no, you said 40% for the first 80, I'll pay 45% for the last $2,000. Okay, so that's what they're trying to explain, the tiered system. Okay, then anything above 200, I'm going to pay 55. Okay, so let's see how that works. Does that make sense? Like the tiered, so first 80, you pay 40 no matter what. Then anything above 80 up to 200, then you're paying 45 on that. And then anything above the 200, you're going to pay 55 on that. So that's what they mean by the tiered system. So let me go through. So let's do an equation. There's tons of room, so you can write big. It's pretty long, so kind of go on the left side here. So f of x equals. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little, just so it's only writing. Okay, so f of x equals. Now, so I'm going to have kind of 3 lines, so I'm going to do just one side, yep, that curly bracket. So let's do the simple part first. For the first 80,000, I'm going to earn 0.4, right, 40% on the first 80,000. So 0.4 times x. And this is if, right, if x is greater than 0, right, we're going to start at 0, and go to the 80,000. So between 0 and 80, I pay 40%. Okay. Now, the next one. So the next one here, we're going to do anything above the 80. So technically, I only have to pay 45% on anything above 80. So the 120 between 80 and 200, right? So you kind of want to get that into the equation. So if I earn, one more time, if I earn $82,000, I have to pay 40% on the 80 for sure, and then 45% on the next 2,000. So for sure, anything above the 80, I'm going to have to pay 0.4 times 80. I have to pay that because it's above 80. Right? So the next domain I'm going to look at is above 80. So 0.4 times the 80,000 plus 0.45 times anything above 80. How do I indicate anything above 80? I'm going to go x minus the initial 80 that I already paid. Right? So if I said 82, you'd go 82 minus 80, so on $2,000. So 82 minus 80, because the 80 is already done. I paid that. So 82 minus 80, so $2,000 times the 45%. Okay? This is if, and this is going to be greater than 80, not including 80, okay? Because they already said up to 80, I pay 40. So open on the 80 to x, and all the way to equal to 200. Yes, 200. 2. 1, 2, 3, all the way up to the 200,000. Okay? So I'm going to pay the 40 on the first 80. Anything above the 80, I'll pay 45 on that. One more time. 200,000. So I still get to pay 40. This is going to take 2 lines just because it's so super long. So I still get to pay 40 on the first 80. Okay, don't take that away. I only want to pay 40 on the first 80 I earn. Plus now 45 on how much?
120.
Yes, 120, the rest, right? All the way up to 200, so 120. And then now the 55 on the rest. How do I say the rest? Yeah, x minus the 200, good. The rest of it. Comma, and I'll do the if x is greater than 200,000. So I paid 40 on the first 80, 45 on the next 120 to get me up to 200, and then 55 on the rest. They don't leave it like that in the book because that's technically way too many brackets. So then what they do is they expand, right? Collect like terms. Can you try to do that? And then you should get to the answer. I'm going to write down what the answer is, but you should be able to do 40 times the 80, 4.45 times that, add that to this one, collect your like terms. It could take you 2 steps or 1 step, depending on how happy you are working on a calculator. And then I'll show you what the answer should be. Make sure you can get to this. It should be, the first line's normal, 0.45, 0.4x. That, then this one should simplify to this. So just make sure you can collect up the like terms. And then, okay, and again, it's just expand, collect like terms. You should get this. I know there's a lot of zeros. There you go. And just make sure you're looking for these guys here, right? So equal to, not equal to, all that. But that's expanding, collecting. And yes, on a test, if we want you to stop before that, we would say it, but otherwise assume that you have to finish it, expand and collect like terms. Any questions or clarifications?